If you line up every large mammal on Earth for a marathon, the human is the only one who shows up naked. For nearly every other creature on this planet, fur is the gold standard for survival. It is a built-in shield against the elements that hasn't changed in millions of years. Yet we are the naked apes. We are a species that made a radical biological choice to trade our protective coats for bare skin. This wasn't a fashion statement. It was a high-stakes evolutionary gamble that turned us into the most efficient radiators in the animal kingdom. By shedding our fur, we unlocked the ability to run for hours in the midday sun. This is a feat that would literally cook the brain of a chimpanzee or a lion. This is the story of how losing our hair allowed us to outrun the fastest animals on Earth. It rewrote our social lives, and it eventually forced us to invent the very clothes you're wearing right now. Every other large mammal you can think of is covered in a thick, functional coat. Gorillas, bears, wolves, even elephants. But humans stand out as smooth, patchy, and weirdly exposed. Scientists call this the naked ape problem. The most compelling explanation for this transition is the thermoregulation argument. As our ancestors moved from the shaded protection of forests into the wide-open grasslands of the African savanna, they faced a new enemy, the sun. In the forest, you could hide in the shade. On the grasslands, you had to move to survive. Fur is great for keeping heat in, but it becomes a massive liability when you are running long distances in 100-degree heat. To prevent our core temperatures from spiking to lethal levels, we gradually shed our fur. We replaced it with an elite cooling system, 2 to 4 million sweat glands. We are professional-grade moisture emitters. We are capable of cooling down while we're still in motion. This is a biological superpower that no other primate can match.
This cooling system enabled a unique strategy called persistence hunting. We weren't the fastest hunters, but we were the most persistent. A gazelle can easily outrun a human in a sprint, but it cannot sweat effectively. By jogging at a medium pace for hours during the hottest part of the day, our ancestors forced their prey to keep moving until the animals collapsed from heat exhaustion. The landscape of fear that animals felt toward us wasn't just about our spears. It was about the fact that we simply wouldn't stop coming. We could dissipate heat on the fly. They were trapped inside their own insulating fur. However, this upgrade came with a hidden cost. Once we lost our fur, the night became a terrifying problem. Without the insulation of a coat, a human being loses body heat rapidly when the sun goes down. This is especially true in the sub-zero temperatures of an ice age winter. We traded our biological protection for a technological one: fire. Fire became our external fur. It created a circle of warmth and safety that allowed us to survive the freezing nights that our bare skin wasn't built for. This shift also fundamentally changed how we bonded. Without fur to separate us, skin-to-skin contact became the primary way we communicated safety and affection. The release of oxytocin during physical contact, whether holding a baby or huddling for warmth, became the glue that held our groups together. Eventually, as we migrated into colder climates, bare skin and campfires weren't enough. We had to invent a second skin: clothing. Archaeological and genetic evidence suggest we started wearing clothes between 100,000 and 170,000 years ago. This transition was so complete that today we view nakedness as a legal and social anomaly. We started with basic wraps for protection against thorns and insects, but we quickly turned clothing into a language of status and identity. We didn't just replace our fur, we turned our nakedness into a canvas for culture. We are the species that got creative because we got cold. Our greatest survival trait wasn't what we grew on our bodies, it was what we were able to build to cover them.
If you line up every large mammal on Earth for a marathon, the human is the only one who shows up naked. For 99% of history, fur was the gold standard for survival. It was a built-in shield. It protected against the sun. It warded off the cold. Then, we threw it away. We are the naked apes, smooth, patchy, and exposed. But this wasn't an accident. It was a biological gamble. It was a radiator upgrade. We moved to the Savannah. The forest shade was gone. The heat was the enemy. Fur became a lethal trap. So, we grew sweat glands, 2 to 4 million of them. We became elite cooling machines. We became persistence hunters. We outran the gazelle, not with speed, but endurance. The animal couldn't sweat. It collapsed from the heat. We just kept going. But nakedness had a price. The night became a threat. The cold could kill us. So, we mastered fire. Fire became our new fur. It created a circle of safety. And something else happened. We started touching each other. Skin-to-skin contact. It released oxytocin. It bonded our families. It made us social. Then came the migrations. We went to the ice. We needed a second skin. We invented clothing. 170,000 years ago. We used needles and hide. We turned skin into language. We used clothes for status. We used them for art. We are the species that got cold and creative. We traded our hair for the ability to move. We traded our coats for the power of culture. Next time you get dressed, remember that simple act. It's 150,000 years of history. We aren't just naked. We are designed to run. And we never stopped.